if you can be the easy button, you can charge whatever you want to charge, and customers will give you 5-star reviews and never mention the fact that you are the most expensive. Matter of fact, the correct customers that you want, they won't even price shop you because you gave them the easy button.
He literally yelled at me and he was like, Kevin, make it easy for me. You're making it hard.
The person that can answer and solve the problem of give it to me right now, they're the ones that's going to make the most because they beat everybody else with speed.
And I just think a lot of specifically blue collar guys, they make stuff more difficult than they need to be. And they don't make it easy for that customer to choose them.
America's backbone was built on blue-collar business grit, grind, and muscle. This is where you stop working for the business, and the business starts working for you.
All right, Blue Collar Millionaires, we're back again, and we're going to talk about concepts that you just literally need to understand and think about on the regular for your business. You know, we'll call this the customer journey. And I want you to visualize a funnel. If you've ever seen someone change the oil in a car, they put a funnel to pour the oil in so they don't spill it because the hole is smaller where you're actually filling the engine block. Or think about you're filling a bottle in the kitchen and you get a funnel. It's just a wider mouth at the top, right? So you don't spill anything out. And then it takes it and it funnels it down so that it can end up in the place that you're trying to apply it. And that's kind of how I think of the customer journey. I mean, your marketing is a larger funnel. It's bringing folks in, and then they're kind of just spinning around the edges of that funnel until they spit out with a 5-star review and they're giving you money, right? But if we sit there and we put a screen on that funnel, now there's friction and it's not letting as much in. If the funnel is too small, too fast, we also have issues and it'll overflow and our customers are spilling out. And so we're losing marketing dollars when we can't capture our customers. A lot of times I'll even sit on my whiteboard and I will draw a line across it. And then I'll just make little marks on that line and it'll say, you know, marketing, and I'll list all of my marketing. It'll say sales and I'll list the different ways that sales happen over the phone, in person. And then I just kind of go through there because for me, if I can see it visually, it helps me kind of problem solve. And then I'll write down where I see things, you know, kind of pop up as a complaint and what we would call a bottleneck. And so we start to brainstorm. And Kevin, we've both listened to some really awesome operators lately talk about how they remove resistance in their customer journey. And this is how they scale their businesses. You were just using the explanation, the example of your Mercedes and the AC getting fixed. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I went out. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. It's hot as fuck out here, and I want my AC fixed, right? But like, how do I do this as easy as possible? So we're calling around and getting different things, and some places can't see for 8 or 9 days, and then they're going to do a diagnostic test, and I know that they're going to give me a price, and then it's going to be 2 days. I'm just looking like, who can do this the fastest? Who can give me a loaner car? Who can take it like tomorrow? Can I drop it off at night? Because I need a ride to get there, you know, if I'm not taking Uber. And it was just one company. They just did all those things and just make it super easy for me. And I just think a lot of specifically blue collar guys, they make stuff more difficult than they need to be. And they don't make it easy for that customer to choose them. You have to think through the eyes of that buyer. What's going to stop them in their tracks? What's going to slow them down from calling you? What's going to be slow? Make it easy to book. Is it scheduling? Is it going to take too long? Are you going to require down payments that you don't really need? Are you going to make it easy for them to pay, to schedule? Do they need to be there? I answer all those questions. I just learned that really early on when I had a customer when I was 18 who literally yelled at me and he was like, Kevin, make it easy for me. You're making it hard. You know, like, I don't want to be here to have to pay you. Because that's kind of like how it was. Like, people used to leave money under rocks for me when I was cutting lawns. And I was like, hey, can you just leave a check in your mailbox? He was like, I'm in New York City. Just make it easy. Send me a bill like everybody else on the planet. And I was like, yeah, why do they want to do that? Why am I creating all this work for people? So I look at it and now I'm him and I want things easy. I don't like when people make things for hard. I'll pay more money for the right thing. That's how you have to think and create your SOPs around that.
Here's the number one, make it easy. How many of you listening has had a customer call in and ask about an estimate that they never received? You came out to the house, you inspected, but you never sent it because you got too busy. And now you're saying, I'm sorry, I'll get it to you this afternoon. That's not making it easy. You've already put the effort in. So how do you fix that? These are the type things when you write across, you draw that line on your whiteboard or on your notebook paper, and you say, estimates don't go out same day. Like everything in your customer journey, it needs to be, do we get this done today, same day? I don't care if it's a full house remodel and that house remodel takes multiple months. You need to ask, how do we get it down into a day, into a week, into a month? Because we are impatient as human beings. Like everything around us teaches us to be impatient. So the person that can answer and solve the problem of give it to me right now, they're the ones that's going to make the most because they beat everybody else with speed. So one simple thing, send your estimates out, give it to them same day. So how do you do that? Well, that means probably if it's such a complex estimate that you have to get back to the office, you put it on your calendar. And no matter what, I have to be in my office at 6 p.m. or I have to be in my office at 8 p.m., whatever it is. And I work on everything that I inspected that day. And I get these quotes out no matter what. Or you even bring it back further and you say, I don't need 100 line items on this estimate. I need to simplify it to where I can put it down in 10 line items. And I need it. So how can you simplify your estimating so that you can actually get your estimates out quicker and preferably while you're on the job site? So that's just one example of how we create friction for our customers and we make it hard for them to buy from us. We make it hard for them to pull their wallet out and give us their money.
I don't understand not giving the estimate in person if you can. I've had guys come to my house and it's $2,000 worth of tree work and they say, I'll send it to you later tonight. They never do. Or they do. Why don't they just do it right there? I'd be doing it on a tablet and I'd say, hey, Kevin, it's going to be at 2,300. I can do it on Wednesday or I can do it, I'd say a date like 18 days later.
Yeah, because you're assuming.
But I could do it this Wednesday or probably right now it's June 30th. I'd say probably I could do July 24th. And, I'm going to say do Wednesday. Yeah, let me sign that. I mean, this is what I did all in the 90s.
Yep.
I used to have the carbon copies, write it, go right back to them. 8 minutes later, and then I'd say, hey, we got an opening on Saturday. I could do it. Otherwise, I could do it in 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And they would take it. I understand some estimates are complicated. You got to get to it like in 24 hours.
Here's another thing that just came to mind. Payment, trying to make the payment. You mentioned this. Your guy said many years ago to you, Kevin, just make it easy. I'm out of town. So many people don't want to pay that 3-4% on their credit card processing fee. Just build it into the freaking price.
Build it in.
Take your credit.
That's friction.
That is friction when they have to write a check, when they have to bring cash, when they have to do an ACH. Take the credit card and make it easy for them to purchase and increase your prices. If you can't afford a 3-4% hit, you need to increase your prices.
Bake it in. And I don't like when people give me a credit card and then it says the fee. What do? I start thinking, maybe I don't want to do that then. Maybe I'll do another thing because I don't want to pay $60 for this stupid shit. Just bake it in there. I don't even think about it.
On big ticket items, are you offering consumer financing? Are you right there where you can plug in an app and you can type in their information, or you can hand the iPad over and they can type in the information? The other thing is, here's something that we do because we're not a full service restoration company. We have referrals and we don't just hand the name across. We call the referral partner and we say, hey, we're over at Miss Jane's house. Here's what we've done. I'm going to send you a couple of pictures. Can you give me a ballpark? Can you give me a time of when you can show up? And you orchestrate it while you're sitting in the house. You just sit there and close them on your service, but they need a service after your service. So since they can't get it from you, you sit there and coordinate it. You don't have to subcontract them and have the liability of it, but you coordinate it for the customer. Someone calls in. So be a resource. At the end of the day, if you can be the easy button, you can charge whatever you want to charge, and customers will give you 5-star reviews and never mention the fact that you are the most expensive. Matter of fact, the correct customers that you want, they won't even price shop you because you gave them the easy button.
Yeah. And this doesn't go for every customer. That's why I like levels of customers, say 1 through 4. 1's your tire kickers, are kind of a pain in the ass. They want to change price. Don't do it for them. Level 4 is like, man, these are core customers. They give me a lot of work. I like them. When they call, we're happy. Take care of those customers. Don't say no to them. Ryan Blair had this. He's in our group doing over $50 million in his automotive shops. He was an incredible guest on Boardroom Elite. Our whole group was like, man, this guy was bringing so much fire. He says his number one, he built his business on being frictionless. We're talking about my car. He's doing like German cars and stuff, high-end cars. And he says those people, they want their car done. They're entrepreneurs. They're high-level W-2 guys. They want a loaner. They want their car done. They're not so price sensitive. They need it done. They don't want to call in the middle of the work and we don't have this part. You got to come get your car. We'll bring it back. They go out and grab it off one of the other cars and then give the guy a discount. Mm-hmm. And everybody says yes to it. They make it work. It's what he says. Be easy to deal with. I see so many guys who aren't, and I'm not saying do that with everybody, but you have to do that with the right people. I did it for a property management company. Say, hey, you can't come on Saturday, or we can't have you on Thursday. Whatever they need, we're going to make it. Hey, can you do this for our homeowners? Can you knock on their door so they can move their cars? Yeah, we'll do it for you. Build it into the price. You should be getting more for those things. You're doing a service.
And you could tell them, look, when I was cleaning carpet and I was the technician going in, I would have customers say, hey, can you take care of this mat? Can you hit this rug while you're here? I say, absolutely. Let me get a measurement real quick and let you know how much additional. Like that was just normal. And in my head, I remember thinking, it took me a minute because I was reading on Facebook forums and I would hear where other people would get asked the same thing. And they're like, never give the service away. Just all in how you respond. So if they're like, hey, can you do this? I have a really big commercial client, great commercial client, refers us even new clients. And they ask us to do services that are not in our core services. And we'll either go get a quote and sit there and sub it, or we will end up doing it in-house if we have the capabilities of the equipment, even though it's outside of what we do on a daily basis. Because those are the type customers. Now, if you call in and you ask for carpet cleaning, we don't offer that anymore. So we refer someone out. We're still a resource. So the whole point is how can you be the yes man, but not, mute yourself out and dirty the waters by being the yes man. And that is building your resource of people that you need to be able to refer out. And then you help coordinate that. And at some point, when you get your pricing right, if that becomes very frequent, you can have someone that helps with those coordinations. So, we have a sheet. There's a spreadsheet that gets pulled up, and all of our CSRs reference that when someone asks for something that's outside of what we provide. And then our sales reps have access to it as well so that they can help coordinate what needs to come in behind us. Because otherwise, they're going to find a full service somebody if you're not full service on whatever you're doing, and they're going to end up going with that person. Why? Because it was easy. You should probably do this minimum once per month. Draw a line across the paper and mark down marketing, sales, operations, finance. And then I want you to think in your head of what the phone conversations sound like, what your customers are asking for. What does your accounts receivable look like? Are you collecting your money as often as you should? Is your estimates or customers asking for them? Is your team installers, your production team, the installers, the service techs, are they having issues out in the field? Are they having the tools? Are they having to run to go get materials because they don't show up prepared and that's dragging the jobs out? All of these type things, you can sit there, and this is why you need to do it monthly, because you're going to think of something new because something will pop up around the time you're doing this, and then you problem solve and you say, how do we shorten the time and do done for you, not a DIY. We don't want them to do it for themselves, a done for you model, so that we can be the best in our marketplace and we can charge the most. And people will pay for it because you'll attract the correct clients when you give a done for you model to where they just say, I need this done. Thank you. Here's your money.
And if you guys have an experience, I know Chris has, it's wild when you get big clients and they just text you, do it, basically, because you've created all the stuff Chris just talked about in the last 3 minutes. They already trust you to do it. They're not worrying about price at that point.
It is wild. It's you almost feel a little scared because you're like, I think I need to get more permission from them when you first start having clients like that ask you.
You do. You sure? We're good. I remember I had a property manager was doing about 80 complexes for him. They were buying them like every 2 months, a new one. He was like, I don't know, whatever you normally charge us. Well, like this one's 12 buildings, this one's 39. He was like, yeah, whatever you normally do. I don't know. He just wanted to get on to other stuff. He didn't care. He wanted it done. He knew I was going to take care of it.
Yeah.
It's a wild thing. It's not every customer, but it's one. But what we really wanted to get to was when you make that journey frictionless, When you figure out how to do that, you can create SOPs to get there. Really think in terms of what people want and create things for the least amount of steps to do it. That keeps you accountable in your team to do SOPs. So it's not just random all the time. It's a really easy way to build it.
Here's something I said to my leadership team, because we've had some new processes, new service lines we've pulled in lately. And so I said, look, if you're not doing your job, you're creating chaos for the next person. And by the time the customer moves through the pipeline, our internal team is in absolute chaos and they're spending extra time they shouldn't be spending. So I went all the way back to the finance department and I said, what do you need so that you can do your job smoothly? What information? Went to operations. I said, what information do you need to be able to schedule the subs and order the materials and schedule the in-house labor? Then I asked the sales, what do you need in information so that when you show up on the inspections, you're prepared and you don't have to delay talking to the customer while. And what happened was we reverse engineered it. And so we were able to take all these, what we need, and it came down to, we needed like 2 things to be implemented to fix everyone's issues. And it almost all of it started at the very beginning. And we came up, one of the things was, let's create a checklist inside of our CRM system. And then as it's moving through, we'll create sections in that checklist and they fill out the form fill portion of the checklist. And it was such a simple fix, but if we hadn't asked the question and got in the room with everyone and reverse engineered asking what information you need to do your job smoothly, because what was happening is they were going to 5 different places looking for the information. And we didn't have a centralized location as it was moving through the funnel for all this information to get stacked. And asking the right questions. Another thing that I recently did is I said, tell me how, if you had someone coming in to train, how you do your job. I said, list it like you're training them and they're fixing to take over your job next week. So how do I do my job is what you need to be able to tell me, because this is going to bring you clarity on what you do. And asking those type of how do I questions creates clarity on what's working and what's not working. And more importantly, it creates clarity if you ask that individual that's running that department, gives them clarity on what they're doing and what's working and what's not working. And it helps you lead leaders in that situation. Now you're not developing technicians, you're developing leaders because you're asking your leaders better questions, which brings clarity. Best mentors I've ever had asked me really good questions that brought clarity into my life. They didn't give me magic pills and answers. They asked me really good questions. And I came up with really good answers because I had what my problem was and what was going to fix it.
Chris, great podcast. Guys, check out bluecollarmillionaire.net. I'll tell you some things. You got free resources there, tons of free stuff. You go on there, you sign on to it. You can get all kinds of free stuff. We got events there. What upcoming events are coming? You guys want to get around people, get in the rooms, get to cool things like UFC in Philadelphia in August. It's on there. Okay. If you want to get in the war room, you want to learn high level basic foundations. Basics are the best of business and how to potentially acquire bolt-ons, new business, new acquisition. Ricardo Torres teaches that in our group. He's incredible. He just ran through his first 8-week. It's an 8-week thing, and people loved it. It's going to be the next one starting up in early August. And then Chris and I have Boardroom Elite. That's where we share with guys doing 1.5 million and up. We got guys doing over $10 million a year in revenue. And those guys, we're talking about problems. We're going through them. We're answering them live. And then we do 3 in-person events. Our next one is in Chicago on the Riverwalk, Boss Hotel, private dinner. We bring in great people, guest speakers and everything. It's an incredible value for what it is. All those, except for the free one, they're paid groups, right? We can't have events and do everything for free. We want motivated people. If you guys are interested, go to Blue Collar Millionaire Net, check it out.
Talk to you
See you
soon.
next week.